Yeah, this is your boy T Ness, and I got another dope video for y'all, man. This video right here is from Jack Rabbit. This is how Kawhi Leonard fumbled the perfect NBA situation. Don't know what this video is about, but as y'all know, Kawhi Leonard was a megastar. Well, megastar, superstar, maybe superstar. Could have been a megastar. He was that dude. And the injuries, man, kind of hurt him. So without further ado, man, let's go and get to this reaction. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave us some comments. Let's go and get to this reaction.
NBA superstars these days are somehow always unhappy. Gone are the days of players just showing up for
Always
work
unhappy.
like the rest of the world has to, and being content with the millions of dollars they have in their bank accounts. Are you really a superstar if you have nothing to complain about? Nothing? This isn't the old NBA anymore, and believe me, I'm all for player empowerment. I'm not going to tell someone to quote-unquote shut up and dribble because these athletes are like the rest of us. We're all human beings entitled to our human rights. But the fact of the matter is simple. Some players have more power and say than their literal employers. That is the team stamped on the front of their jersey, which to me seems a little fallacious. In this day and age, if you didn't want to show up for work that morning and decided, I don't know, man, I kind of want to work in this city. Well, congratulations. Your wish is as good as true. Just submit your trade request here, please. Now, in most cases, these superstars acknowledge the power they have, but refrain from such behavior because, you know, they have somewhat of a moral compass. But then there's a rare case in which a superstar abuses that power and uses it to manipulate the system. Sometimes they utilize it through team personnel decisions. I mean, LeBron's basically the GM of every team he goes to, right? Sometimes it's used in the form of practical use, like asking for a couple days off to go party in Vegas. But in the curious case of Kawhi Leonard, it's all of the above. A man who had the perfect situation right in front of him, but took the opportunity for granted for trying to gain a little too much for himself, which is now starting to bite him in the butt.
No, I ain't gonna lie. Kawhi Leonard, his trajectory, would he been like top 5? Probably not. But 6 to 10, he could have had a case if he continued where he was. Like, if he didn't pull that shit with the Spurs, like sitting out the whole time, then he went to the Toronto, won a chip. After that, man, whew. Now his career would have been different if it was for the injuries, bro. When he went to the Clippers with Paul George, bro, and that team they had around him. Matter of fact, it wasn't even Kawhi's fault at one point because the team he had when he first got there was solid, bro. I think another year or two, that same team he had when he went to Toronto, not went to Toronto, but when he went to the Clippers, bro, another season or two under their belt with Pat Bev and all them boys, man, I'm telling you, bro, they would have won a chip eventually. But then Paul George getting injured, then Kawhi getting injured, then they messed with the team, and it's like, bro. Right now, Kawhi just collecting money at this point. But Kawhi could have been so much bigger, bro.
It's July 2017, and after the Spurs and Kawhi Leonard had what some may consider the greatest team of all time on the road to the Western Conference Finals, Kawhi went down with an ankle injury, thanks to Zaza Pachulia, the top student at the Academy of Draymond Green Not-So-Natural Movements.
A two-step lead with your foot closeout is not appropriate.
I bring this up because injury management is going to be key to this video, as Kawhi's ankle injury not only derailed San Antonio's championship aspirations. Kawhi that summer picked up some more unfortunate injury news as a nagging quadriceps injury that never fully recovered was diagnosed by the Spurs medical staff as a chronic tendinopathy issue, which was not what Kawhi and his camp wanted to hear. And these arguments spilled over into the next season, with tension going back and forth, Kawhi only playing 9 total games that year, even though multiple times he claimed he was coming back, and even his own teammates started throwing shots at him.
San Antonio. Earlier today, this is what Manu Ginobili said. He is not coming back. This is, of course, talking about Kawhi Leonard.
Despite being one of the best players in the NBA, this injury saga essentially tanked Kawhi Leonard's market value. And things certainly didn't help when he not only demanded a trade from the organization that raised him, he made the decision to dramatize the situation even more by leaking to the media that he intended to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. And with 1 year left on his contract, teams had to carefully evaluate the risk of sending the farm for a rental. Sure, you were getting one of the top 10 players in the league, But how valuable is that if you know you're only getting him for less than 365 days? The answer is it's not that valuable, especially if you were a team that was not ready to win a championship. For the most part, the market was considerably dry, with no team willing to meet San Antonio's trade demands for an all-star caliber player back in return. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. But there was one team that felt like, at least internally, that they had checked the boxes to take this gigantic risk. A team that they felt had enough to win a championship.
I'm so upset about that because, bro, like literally, Toronto was there, bro. It wasn't even DeMar, because I feel like DeMar and at the time Kawhi was like on par with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's not like DeMar was like terrible, bro. It was just like offensively, I give DeMar this, but defensively, Kawhi was like here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like skilled offensively with DeMar, but DeMar, you know, mid-range guard was probably like right here when it came to fucking Kawhi DeMar, right? I give DeMar a slight edge offensively, but defensively, it was like here with Kawhi. So, yeah, I give him that. But, like, I think they could have won that chip with DeMar that year, to be real. To be totally honest, I feel like if you put DeMar in that same situation, because they've been working so hard, like they gelled together, like they were just on the cusp of being an NBA champion. I think if they would have stuck with DeMar, they would have eventually won it that same year, no matter if Kawhi was there or not. And you can do the whole clutch gene and shit because Kawhi did hit the big shot, the win, the East Finals. So I give him that. And then it took right now to get hurt. I get that. But like I feel like in that same scenario, I feel like if you put DeMar DeRozan in that same scenario with that team, with what happened, I think they would have won it, bro.
A winning culture established over multiple years of high-achieving seasons, and the proper assets for an enticing trade package.
Deal is final. The Spurs will send Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green to the Raptors for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a 2019 first-round pick. Sources tell me the Raptors and Spurs are getting on a trade call with the league office momentarily to finalize.
Think about DeMar. He can't catch a break, bro. That team they had in Chicago with Lonzo, with Zach LaVine, they was about to go crazy until Lonzo got hurt, bro. And it kind of stifled Lonzo's career, bro. But they would have went crazy because Lonzo's it was looking good until Lonzo got hurt,
2018, the Toronto Raptors pushed all their chips to the center of the table and pulled off one of the riskiest trades in NBA history. A franchise that came off yet another spanking by LeBron James, becoming somewhat of a laughingstock organization with a clear ceiling capped on this roster. They believed Kawhi was the missing piece, but in order to acquire him, they had to deal one of, if not the most beloved player in franchise history at that point, in DeMar DeRozan, and the basketball community despised of this move.
So he ain't happy. It looks like Kawhi's not going to be happy because he may be going to Toronto, which I believe is the exact opposite of Los Angeles.
Yeah. How do you make Kawhi happy? Tell him he is west of Nova Scotia.
If Popovich
can convince DeRozan this is a good place to be, I didn't think they'd get anything for Kawhi Leonard.
And to make matters worse, the team had also recently fired their head coach that won Coach of the Year, and Kawhi was reportedly not super thrilled about moving to cold weather either. What could go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what could have gone wrong did not go wrong, because the 2019 Raptors came out and showed why this was the perfect situation for Kawhi.
Well, what I've watched the Toronto Raptors do, mainly led by Coach Nick Nurse and obviously the star player that is Kawhi Leonard, is make all of us, including myself, look like absolute positive idiots. That's really what this comes down to. Kawhi Leonard is simply on another level and everybody else is just spectating. That's what this comes down to.
Oftentimes you bring in a huge trade piece like Kawhi, there's usually an adjustment period where the team starts slow and picks up as the season goes on. But not this team. This team led by a first-year head coach surrounded by guys who are stepping into new roles and gelling around the superstardom of Kawhi Leonard instantly became a formidable opponent in the Eastern Conference. And what made this team strong was that all of Kawhi's strengths were only amplified by his teammates. A squad of tough, smart, defensive-minded parts making the sum of a great team. The Raptors were not only one of the deepest teams on paper. I mean, just look at their bench. You could probably build a playoff team in itself with the backups. But this was also the only team in NBA history.
That is nasty. That is nasty. Honestly, today, Powell will be the starting shooting guard. Other than that, this team is nasty because OG balling, Powell's balling, Van Fleet was balling at the point, but he's kind of quiet now. You got Gasol, Mark Gasol, then Ibaka, then Siakam, and Siakam is balling for Indiana right now. Ooh, this team is kind of nasty, low key. I see why they won. Like no bull.
History that was constructed of all non-lottery picks, so you never have to worry about egos.
Like,
you had a mix of experienced veterans who were extremely battle-tested after all going toe-to-toe with each other in arguably the most physical and competitive era during those 2010 Western Conference days, with Gasol, Ibaka, Danny Green, and Kawhi all trading blows. So you knew going into the playoffs that Kawhi was going to war with guys who had already been through it all. Not to mention an all-star point guard who had his own fair share of playoff experience as well. But don't get it twisted. It wasn't just a bunch of old hags with war stories, because the other half of the roster was filled with a bunch of young and hungry underdogs that felt like they had something to prove. They were a lively bunch who contrasted Kawhi's calm demeanor with high spirit and high energy, and gave this team the juice they needed to raise the roster's upside. Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby were swarming defensive front court, with the former winning the most improved player award, while the young backcourt of Fred VanVleet and Norman Powell provided the Raptors with a much-needed spark. And the chemistry and vibes of this team, man, they were off the charts.
Sharing the rock, humming that ball around, and look at the ball movement right here. Gets it down.
Norman Powell should have been an all-star last year.
Quick swing back out. OG splash. Lowry, tremendous recognition.
Whenever Kawhi was hurt.
This kid can run the floor.
What made this team different, though, and in my opinion, the best team Kawhi Leonard has ever played for, is how they had a true identity and hung their hat on the defensive end. Looking at some of the numbers, the Raptors were elite on that end of the floor, ranking second in deflections, fifth in defensive field goal percentage, and posted a 106.8 defensive rating, all top 5 across the NBA. There weren't any weak links on this team, and the connectedness on defense once again empowered Kawhi Leonard as their leader.
This is what it makes Toronto so crazy to me. And they did it last year, and obviously we played them 7 games in the playoffs. But they do that better than any team I've ever seen, ever. It's like there's telepathy, and they know where each guy's going to be at all times, because it is random. Like rotations, you're not getting like swing every single time. One guy may fake a pass and drive, and it's just like there's a guy there, there's a body there at all times with them. It's actually remarkable.
And lastly, this wouldn't be a perfect Kawhi Leonard team if it didn't allow Kawhi Leonard to do what he does best: load manage. I mean, the guy does have a chronic injury, so guys had to be able to pick up the slack when he was on his day off. And as for the Raptors, they somehow...
I'm thinking to myself, bro, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, right? And I seen my basketball players like play the whole year, and if they are hurt, they're limping on the court. Like they ain't taking no time off. 82 games minimum. Now these dudes take days off like it ain't nothing, bro. Just because, like, bro, these dudes used to play through this stuff, bro. I don't get it. And I feel like we're more healthier than we was back then.
Might have been an even better team without him. They were 17-5 when Kawhi wasn't playing, and scored more points in those 22 games than when he was in, thanks to a more all-around approach by the team, with their assists skyrocketing as a byproduct. One of the misconceptions when people talk about the 2019 Raptors was that this was a team that was carried by Kawhi, when that couldn't have been further from the truth. This was a great team as is, but needed Kawhi Leonard to take that championship lead. Kawhi needed the Raptors supporting cast just as much as the Raptors supporting cast needed him in a mutual partnership. And going into the playoffs, this was exactly where Kawhi Leonard showed his worth.
Here's the big picture. Kawhi Leonard is proving right now that the rankings of the constellation of stars in the basketball universe is rearranging. Kawhi 1, LeBron 2. LeBron James he put down the baton because he didn't make the postseason. Who wanted to pick it up?
For the first time in franchise history, Canada was on top of the basketball world. And it all wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for one of the greatest postseason performances we have ever seen from a player. I mean, Kawhi was just ridiculous. Some of these numbers don't even feel real, and his brilliance paired by his teammates supporting him was enough to achieve an NBA championship. All the negative reactions to the trade, the risks the Raptors endured to bring Kawhi across the border, didn't mean anything anymore, because Toronto had proven themselves right. Their roster was good enough to win. And as for Canada, when I say this was a country that felt like they had something special on their hands, that actually somehow might be an understatement.
I can't believe it actually happened. We won! We won!
Oh, it's crazy, man. Like, we waited 24 years for this. Come on, 24 years, and we invented the game. We invented the sport.
But slowly as euphoria died down and the cold reality of Kawhi Leonard's looming free agency kicked in, people really had no idea where he was going to go. The fan base, however, was going to make sure they did everything in their power to make sure he felt loved and appreciated to prime to stay. Remember, this wasn't just a city. This was a whole country that was worshiping this man. Never have I seen a free agency pitch that included free food at restaurants thanks to a campaign called Kawhi and Dine, people already making murals of him all across the country, penthouses being offered for free, and even whatever you call this.
It's a housewarming gift for Kawhi. Oh, I see. He's staying. Well, when you see him, tell him I got a housewarming gift. Tell him I love him. I will. What kind of plant is that? Tell him thank you for the shot. What kind of plant is that? It's a plant for Kawhi. It's a Kawhi plant. Kawhi plant. It's a Kawhi cactus. Have a good night, man. Cactus. I like it.
But despite all the efforts, and despite the fact that he could have had everything he wanted on and off the court, there was just one unfulfilled thing that was missing: the desire to go home. Kawhi signed with the LA Clippers right after winning a championship, and the rest was history. The following year, the Clippers bent the knee to Kawhi and gave him all the power in the franchise. He asked for them to trade for Paul George, and the team went out and got him, even if it cost him one of the worst trades in the history of the league. He wanted to live in San Diego, which was 2 hours away from Los Angeles, and still somehow commute to practice, while the Clippers gave him his own helicopter to make this trip possible. Essentially, they allowed Kawhi Leonard and his trusted advisor Uncle Dennis to run the organization, which started rubbing teammates the wrong way immediately. And even though the Raptors lost their best player for nothing in the offseason, that same year, they actually finished with a better record than the year before, and also a better record than the Clippers that year.
Usually teams who lose a finals MVP fall apart after, but the Raptors situation is different in that, one, they were already a deep team before Kawhi Leonard showed up, and two, because Kawhi was only there a year, management never really got the chance to customize the roster to him. So while leaving may have punched a hole in the team fabric, it didn't pull out all the other threads around him, and those threads are really, really good.
It proved to the world everything that the Raptors and Kawhi already knew. This was a winning infrastructure that just needed Kawhi to get over the championship hump, and without him they didn't stand a chance. You see, the difference between the Raptors and the Clippers was that Kawhi was still the most important player in the organization, but the Raptors saw Kawhi as an addition to the team, whereas the Clippers saw Kawhi as the nucleus. Now fast forwarding to the present day, and it's safe to say the Clippers and Kawhi's partnership has been a colossal bust. They haven't come close to what the Raptors accomplished in just one season, and the team is under even more fire than ever before because of a potential case of giving into Kawhi's demands even more. In addition, you have all these reports coming out that despite all of Raptors Nation putting this man on a pedestal, there have been claims that he wanted part-time ownership of Toronto's teams, on top of some other sketchy demands, as if he wasn't offered enough. Putting this all together, you now have one gigantic mess, all self-imposed by abusing superstars.
I get Kawhi. At the time, Kawhi was hot, right? On fire, bro. He was regarded, like, at one point, the best in the league, bro. Like, after he won that championship with Toronto, he was in that regard with, like, LeBron, bro. Like, you had Stephen LeBron at the time cooking, and Kawhi was, like, right there with him. And I want to say at one point, Kawhi is the best. Those questions are going around, bro. Is Kawhi one of the best players in the league, bro? And I never thought so, right? You just put it like a all-star that got put in a position. He can ball, don't get me wrong. Like, Kawhi is great, but like Talk about LeBron and all them. Like, come on now. There's consider this dude at that time the best in the league at that point, bro. You know how sports media is, bro. They like they up and down. Like one game, this dude's like the best quarterback in the league, then he have a bad game and he's here. You know what I'm saying? You know how the sports media goes, right? But Kawhi, he really had it, bro. He really had it. At one point, he was literally
power.
There'll be severe penalties here, but
they actually talked about that.
If they are found guilty here in this situation.
The Clippers took a big gamble. You know, it didn't quite pan out as they planned.
Nobody's questioning Kawhi Leonard, the basketball player. But it is fair to wonder if his talent is enough to justify the baggage that comes with
and Mama fell for it, bro. Like, if that was the case, right? He was one, and I get why Kawhi asked for it because, like, you know, like, hey, I'm trying to maximize. Like, I know if me personally, if I got this bum leg, this bum knee, or where the hell going on with Kawhi, I can't play this game for long. I want to try to maximize everything I can get out of the game. So, like, hey, why not ask Toronto for, like, because you know he's taking time off for a reason, bro. I think Kawhi loves the game enough because I heard about his work ethic. They say he works hard, bro. And I think Kawhi knew like he was limited, which when he was taking all these days off and stuff like that, I think he comes to the games and I think he went through them. And he's so amazing that it described that he can get away with it with being on the bum knee or bum leg or whatever the hell this case may be, bum ankle, whatnot. So I think me personally, I think Kawhi was trying to maximize everything that the game can offer for him. And I think, like, hey, why not say, hey, Toronto, I want you a chip. You guys ain't really, you a big market, but you in a big market like the teams in the U.S., right? Nobody really paying attention to Toronto like that. So, hey, why not let me ask for, you know what I'm saying, stake in the ownership of the company or the NBA team? So why not? So what he's going to do, Toronto says no, the Clippers says yes to all this other shit. That's why him and Bummer and that trouble they did earlier this season, he was paying Kawhi Leonard $40 million on some side gig. You know what I'm saying? Kawhi is maximizing, dog. Kawhi didn't really do shit for the Clippers, and the fact that fucking Steve Ballmer is fucking doing that shit for him, risking his ownership and all that just to pay this dude $40 million extra a year on some side ass company. Crazy.
Also fair to wonder if all of this was a mistake.
Crazy, bro.
Leaving a team that was on pace to win 60 games before COVID shut down the league was a bad enough decision in itself.
I never thought that.
But the reason for why he did it may be even worse. If it was truly about the fact that he just wanted to go home, then hey, I can't fault that. But from all the reports and how things have unfolded in Los Angeles, it kind of seems like this is a situation that was formed because of greed and flying too close to the sun. Whether it was Kawhi or his uncle's influence, even back with the Spurs, he always had a complicated history with dealing with superstar treatment. From feeling undeserved and not receiving what he thought was fair, to finally gaining it and abusing his power.
There. All right, well, that being said, though, I'm going to leave it right here. I'm not going to watch the rest of it because I know it's. But to be real, Kawhi is going to be a Hall of Famer. Where you rank him is totally different. I wouldn't rank him pretty high. He's going to be a Hall of Famer just because All-Stars and did he win finals that year? The fact that he won a chip and all that other stuff. They're going to put him in the Hall. But do I feel like he deserves to be there? I do not. To be real, I do not feel like he should be there with the greats because he didn't play much basketball, bro. Like, when he played it at a high level in his prime, Kawhi was great. But like his potential, where he could have been if he didn't get hurt, like a healthy Kawhi Leonard would have been one of the greatest of all times, bro. But because of his injury history, the games he took off, the load management shit, I don't think I could put Kawhi. I would put, me personally, in my hall, I wouldn't put Kawhi there, bro. Some of y'all might have, y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Would you all put Kawhi in the hall? in y'all Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame, but y'all Hall of Fame, you consider him one of the greats. Would Kawhi Leonard be talked about not positively from years to come, not negative, because we all gonna know, oh, Kawhi was great, but he was hurt most of the time. We gonna hear that. But like, would y'all put Kawhi Leonard in y'all Hall of Fame right now? Y'all let me know in the comment section. This is your boy T Nasty, man. Holla at your boy, and I'm out.